Hey guys, Jack here from the Life Fit Studio and welcome back for another little video. This time we're going to talk all about mobility, but how to make it simple for you. So I remember years ago going to physio and so on and being given exercise and not having a bloody clue how to do it unless I was supervised because I didn't know what I was trying to achieve. But really, if you want to help something to thrive, you have to understand it, and then you got to nourish it. But you can't nourish something if you don't understand it. So while you might think that, all flowers need water, well, if you give water to some, they won't grow. If you give them to others, they will. Same with sunlight. If you give some, they won't grow, and if you give it to some, they will. So I'm gonna go a very quick run through right through the body. Going to start in the foot, make our way up through the body, and teach you what types of stresses, which if you're doing 3 to 7 out of 10 and daily through your habits, if you keep giving it, well then it's going to be pretty nourished. So the first area of the foot is from here to about here. And very like the fingers, generally speaking, we want to give it 2 types of stresses. That's alternating, so that kind of a movement, and then spreading out as well. So being able to spread wide. Now, think straight away, if you're wearing narrow pointy shoes, 8, 12, 16 hours a day, how does that help nourish that area? Probably not very well. Next area of the foot is through here. It's like 2 rows of 4 ice cube bones, and very much like a Rubik's cube. You want to get the types of stresses through here, that kind of like wrenching a towel movement. Now again, maybe your footwear has a very solid arch and doesn't allow much movement through here. It's not going to be very well nourished. Moving on up into the ankle. Ankle likes to close, it likes to open, it likes to invert and evert. Yet again, most of our shoes have a lot of rigidity, and because of the raised heels, we spend a lot of time with the ankle open, but very little time with the ankle here, because maybe we don't squat down or spend much time low down on the ground. So again, can you modify the habits ever so slightly there? Moving on up towards the knee. The knee's pretty simple. It likes to just bend and straighten and bend and straighten. But because we don't get much movement in the foot and in the hip, and we've poor control over both areas, we tend to pass a lot of the workload onto the knees. So the knees actually want to stay in nice and comfortable under our centre of mass, but because of maybe poor hip extension or inability to close those ankles, our knee spends more time further away from our centre of mass, and then it's taking more load, more pressure, and so on. So if you want happy, healthy knees, just let them bend, but get the hip and the foot doing their job. Moving on up to the hip. The hip, which we spend so much time standing, walking, sitting down, standing, walking, sitting down, and we're getting loads and loads of flexion, really good flexion, but maybe very little external rotation, internal rotation, extension, combinations of all of those movements. Again, say for example you're watching the TV, why not sit on the floor for a while and get some external rotation into those hips? Or maybe you're on the laptop sending emails, why not go onto your belly and get some extension into the hips, yeah? Or getting some different internal rotations and so on by varying up the habits, giving the hips the type of nutrients it needs so that it can be really, really good and circle around in all different angles like it should. Next area, the spine. People think we, shouldn't bend with the spine and do all our bending with our knees and protect the spine at all costs because it's so weak. It's just really not true. The spine is really tough, and by design it's bone, so like vertebrae, disc, like a sheet of jelly, and on and on and on it goes. So it's literally designed to bend. If it wasn't, it would have been one bone like the femur. The movements of the spine are flexion, extension, rotation, side bending, transverse or lateral glides, and then anterior, posterior, or front and back glides. So like so or like so. So we can combine those movements. I might be in flexion, do some rotation, side bending, and maybe some glides, and so on, yeah, or extension, side bending, rotating glides, whatever, right up through the column, depending on where I feel needs it most. Usually where needs it most is the place I've least control with or least connection with. If I don't know where that valuable thing is in space, then I'm likely going to have some stress there. Next, shoulders. Shoulders, very simple, generally like 2 things. So it's a ball and socket joint, again, just like the hip. It likes load under compression, so pressing in, and load under distraction. And I don't mean, that big yellow shiny bus over there. I mean distraction is in creating a little bit pull apart in the joint. So load under compression can be anything like pressing into those positions, but in a whole host of variety. So it's good and strong. And then load under distraction, like the monkeys we are, swinging off a tree, holding on a branch, pulling away from a door frame, holding buckets, whatever it is, but again, in all of that different variety. And if your shoulders get enough of that at an appropriate dosage, 3 to 7 out of 10, nothing ever too much too soon, same like the rest of the body, they'll be happy, healthy, strong, adaptable, exactly the way you want them to be. So that's basically the run through the body. Again, remember with any of these, you got to be wise. So it's 3 to 7 out of 10 stuff. You don't want to be going 10 out of 10 too much too soon in any of them, or your nervous system will have a protective response, i.e. pain. But if you're gradually adapting all the time in these varieties of ways, again, give the foot what it needs and what it wants, give the hip what it needs and what it wants, the spine and so on, and you can understand the basics of what that is, then the rest becomes simple. You don't have to worry, how do I come up with this exercise and that exercise? It'll all come to you because you get the principle behind it. So that's it for today. I'm Jack at the Life Fit Studio. If you like this video, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Give us an old holler. We are on social media. I am at Jack O'Halloran _IE or Life Fit Studios. Until the next time, stay happy, stay healthy, stay strong. Mind yourself and your fellow humans and go with love. Yours in health, Jack.